You know that feeling when you finish an edit and you're watching it back thinking, damn, I crushed this. But then you show it to someone and they're just like, yeah, it's pretty good. That's when reality hits you, right? The thing is, the problem isn't necessarily that your edit sucks. It's that you're biased. You know exactly how many hours you spent tweaking every little detail. But your viewers, they don't see any of that effort. Let me tell you something I learned the hard way after years of editing. When I first started, I'd spend hours on a single transition thinking it was revolutionary, only to have people scroll right past it. Super frustrating, right? And here's the real issue. Most creators never actually fix their mistakes. They just keep making the same amateur-looking edits over and over again. They're stuck in this loop of mediocrity because they can't see their own blind spots. But that's not gonna be you, because today I'm breaking down how to make your edits look expensive and professional. I'm talking about those edits that make people stop scrolling and go, whoa, how did they do that? First things first, if your edits are crammed with too many effects, that's probably hurting more than helping. I see this all the time in beginner edits. Glitch effects on top of lens flares on top of crazy transitions. It's like putting ketchup, mustard, mayo, and hot sauce on a burger. At some point, you can't even taste the meat anymore. Have you ever seen those super clean, minimal ads from big brands and wondered why your stuff doesn't look like that? Here's the secret nobody tells you. Expensive looking edits aren't about doing more. They're about doing less, but doing it better. Think about those sleek commercials from companies like Apple. They don't need crazy explosions or 3D text flying all over the place. Sometimes, it's literally just a phone sliding across a white surface with some subtle shadows. That's it. They use clean, simple visuals with intentional movement, and it looks expensive even though you could technically recreate it with almost any editing software. I once had a client reject an edit because it wasn't flashy enough. I stripped away half the effects, left just the cleanest elements, and suddenly they loved it. They thought I'd spent more time on it when I actually spent less. So next time you're editing, ask yourself, do I actually need this effect, or am I just adding it because I'm bored? Try removing effects one by one and see if your edit actually improves. Let's talk about fonts. The fastest way to make your edit look cheap is using the wrong font. Man, I learned this one the hard way. I once delivered a whole commercial using Papyrus. Yes, Papyrus, because I thought it looked exotic. The client asked if my computer had crashed mid-export. Fonts have a much bigger impact than most people realize. The wrong one makes everything look amateur, while the right one instantly elevates your work. It's like showing up to a job interview. Wearing a clean, simple outfit immediately signals professionalism, while showing up in a Halloween costume sends different signals. Some fonts that always look professional are Helvetica, Montserrat, Futura, and Gotham. Basically anything clean and minimal rather than those crazy decorative fonts everyone used back in 2010. Remember when everything was in Bleeding Cowboys or that weird graffiti font? Dark times, my friends, dark times. And please, for the love of all things holy, stop using Comic Sans unless you're making content for 5-year-olds. Here's a pro tip most people miss. Pair a bold font with a lighter weight of the same font family instead of mixing two different fonts. It creates harmony while still giving you contrast. Oh, and kern your text. That's the spacing between letters. Nothing screams amateur like poorly spaced letters in your title. If your edit looks flat and lifeless, it's probably your color treatment. Let me show you what I mean. See the difference? The first one looks like a high school project and the second looks cinematic. And I'm not exaggerating. Proper color grading is often the biggest difference between amateur and professional looking content. Here's how to fix it. Use adjustment layers to fine-tune brightness, contrast, and color balance. If you want to take it up a notch, add a subtle film grain, a touch of halation, and maybe a light overlay. Let me share a secret technique I rarely talk about. Instead of going crazy with saturation, which everyone does, try adjusting the tone curves for each RGB channel separately. Pull the shadows in the blue channel just a bit while lifting them in the red. Suddenly, your footage has that expensive Hollywood feel without looking overtly filtered. And if you make transition edits like I do sometimes, adding a slight glow effect, tweaking your S-curves, and sharpening just a bit will make everything pop. That's just some free advice right there. I once had a client double my rate after I delivered a project with proper color grading. They thought I'd used some fancy software when it was literally just careful color work on normal footage. Sound design. This one is seriously underrated. Listen, literally, if your edit doesn't have sound effects, you're missing out on so much impact. Even small sound effects make a huge difference. Whooshes for motion, bass hits for impact, subtle clicks for UI movements, they all make your edit feel more immersive. I remember watching a behind the scenes for a Marvel movie where they revealed that a single fight scene had over 300 custom sound effects. 300! For like 30 seconds of content. Now, I'm not saying you need that many, but it shows how much the pros value sound. Even if you're just working with text on screen, adding a tiny switch sound when it appears tricks the brain into thinking it's more polished. Those little tick sounds when elements appear, subtle whoosh when things move, they create a multi-sensory experience that's way more engaging. It's all about those details. Your viewers might not consciously notice good sound design, but they'll definitely feel something's missing without it. So there you have it. Less is more with effects, choose professional fonts, master your color grading, and don't neglect sound design. What's crazy is none of these things require expensive plugins or years of experience. They're all about developing an eye for quality and putting in that extra 20% effort that makes a 200% difference in how professional your work looks. I actually made all these mistakes when I started. My early edits had every effect possible, used whatever fonts looked cool, had no color grading, and zero sound design. We all start somewhere. To wrap things up, my new community is officially live. I'm kicking things off by helping some early members for free, so you can level up your editing game right away. There are a bunch of surprises along the way, like a free text animation pack, sound effects, transitions, and more. All built around the principles we just covered. If you want to join us, the link's in the description. Drop a comment and let me know which tip you're going to try first. I read every single one and love seeing your progress. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.